In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a new bracelet that can either be lollipops or balloons or possibly even flowers. So let me show you what it looks like. When I originally created it, I had lollipops in mind, but my kids thought they looked like balloons. So you can see I did black and then I did all the different colors. And if you wanted to change this part to green, it could even look like a cute little flower. And I'm going to be showing this on the Rainbow Loom, but you can also easily make this bracelet on the monster tail. It only uses 3 pins, so if you're working on the monster tail, you would just use these 3 pins in a row. So on the Rainbow Loom, it doesn't really matter how you have your rows of pins set up, since we're only working with 1 row, but I have mine set in a staggered position. And you want the arrows to be facing towards you so that the opened ends are all facing you. You will need to choose your colors, and I have Rainbow Loom white and then the jelly colors. And so you'll need about 100 rubber bands for the background or the main part of the bracelet. And then for each balloon or lollipop, you will need 3 rubber bands, and you'll probably be able to fit about 6 or 7 on one bracelet. And so I have 3 of each of the colors, and then I have black for the stick or the string part, and so I have 7 of those. You're going to start with your main color, so I have white, and it's going to go from the first pin up to the second. I'm just going to be working with this right hand row of pins, and I'm going to twist just the bottom. And now I'm going to place another band from the second pin up to the third. And again, I'm going to twist, push those down, and now I'm going to add a second layer of white. So again, I'm just starting on the first pin, going to the second, and now from the second up to the third. And now that I have 2 layers on, I want to remove the bottom layer, and I'm going to be working from the left side and pulling the bands over to the right. Now on the ends here, I only have 2 rubber bands, so I'm not doing anything to those until I have 4 rubber bands on. But on the center pin, I do have 4 rubber bands, so I want the bottom 2 to come over the top and to the right hand side. So I'm going to grab them both at once and pull them over. Just make sure that these upper bands do not come off as you're pulling that over. And now I'm going to push that down. Now I'm going to add another layer. I'll just do all white again. So I'm just going from the first up to the second and then up again. And now I want to remove the bottom layer. And once again, I only have 3 rubber bands on the ends. I'm not doing anything on that. So in the center, I want the bottom 2 rubber bands to come up and over from the left side over to the right. This way the bracelet will grow on the outside of the loom. And so now I'm going to put on my next layer. And so now I'm going to start the colors for the lollipops or balloons. So I'm just going to call them balloons for the rest of the bracelet because I don't want to keep saying 2 things every time. So I have red for the first one, and I want this to go on the center pin, and I want it to be tripled. So I'll show you how to do that on your hook. You're just going to take the rubber band and place it on your hook. You will twist and put it back on, twist and put it back on so that it's triple. You'll see 3 rubber bands on your hook, and it will be a little bit tight. You're just going to put that right over top of this center pin. Going to push that down. And now the next layer I add is going to be red. So that's just going from the first pin up to the second, and now the second to the third. And now I want to remove the bottom layer. Again, I'm always doing it from the left over to the right. And since I have 4 rubber bands on the 2 end pins, I want that bottom rubber band to come over the top. And now in the middle here, I have the 2 white on the bottom. And then I have 3 red, which is the band that I just tripled, and then I have 2 red on top of that. So this part might be a little bit tricky to separate the colors, the red colors, or whatever color you're working with. But what I want to do is I want the white bands to come up through these 3 red bands and then go over top of the other 2. So I'm taking these top red bands, the top 2, I'm going to ignore them. I want to reach my hook down inside of this next band that we tripled, so there's going to be 3 there. Get all of those red to go behind your hook. And now I'm getting the 2 white bands to come up through and over to the right. It is a little bit tight. And now I want to take these 3 red bands and have them go over as well. But what I want to do first before I do that is I want to put the part that's going to be the string on the balloon. So I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to go inside of these 3 red bands. I'm going to need to sit this down here. So I will take a black rubber band and I'm going to put it on my hook, and then I'm going to pull this up through. So it's just going through those 3 rubber bands that we tripled, and now I want the bottom of the black band to go through the top, and I'm going to pull this pretty tight. It's going to make a slip knot. And so now I can get these 3 red bands to go over. That's going to be the circle part. And you can see that this just sort of hangs here, and that's fine. That's what we want for now. And now on this last pin here, we want this bottom rubber band to come over the top and to the right. And you're going to have to grab this sort of from the side because you can't go down in the middle like you can with the first one. I'm going to push all of this down. And now I'm going to add 3 more layers of white. So it's going to do the same pattern starting at the bottom here. And every time I put a layer on, I need to remove the bottom. So it's going to be 1 band from the end, and it's going to be 2 from the center. So I have the 2 red bands to come over, and then 1 at the end here. And I'm pushing down every time. And so now I'm going to add a second layer of all white. And again, I'll be removing the bottom layer. So it's 1 from the end and 2 from the middle. And then 1 from the end. And now I'm going to do 1 more layer of white. And now what I want to do is also put the black band on here. So you can see we have it hanging here. And what I'm going to do is get it on my hook, and I'm going to twist it around. So I'm going to twist it 1, 2 full turns, and then I want to place it on this pin. It might be a little bit tough to get on. It's just going to sit right on the top there. And so now I'm going to just continue looping. I want the red band to come off on the end. I want the 2 center bands to come off, and then the red band at the top. And now I'm going to add 4 more layers of all white. So this is just going to space out the balloons for the rest of the bracelet. You can really do as many as you want in between. I'm just going to pick 4. So again, it's 1 from the end, 2 from the middle. I'm still leaving that black on for now. I'll take it off on the next one. So that was 1. And here's the second. This time I am going to take the black off, and then also the bottom 2 white. And now I'm going to do a 3rd layer of all white. push that down, and then I have one more layer. And now I'm going to add my next balloon. So I'm going to take an orange rubber band and I want to triple it on this center pin. So I'll show you another way that you can triple it. You can just place it on the pin, twist, and put it back on, but keep hold of it in your fingers, twist, and then put it back on again. So that's another way you can triple it, just using your hands. And now I need to put an orange layer on top. And so now I want to remove just one rubber band from the ends. Now in the middle here, again, we have the 2 orange bands on top, then we have 3 in the middle that we tripled, and then the 2 white on the bottom. So we want the white to come up through the 3 orange and then over the top. So I'm ignoring the top 2 orange bands, and I'm just going to put my hook in and get these 3 orange bands to go behind my hook. These are the ones in the middle. And now I can grab the bottom 2 white. They're going to come up over to the right hand side. And I also want these 3 orange bands to come over, but before I do that, I'm going to just reach my hook inside again. And make sure you have just those 3. And I'm going to take a black rubber band and I'm going to get it on the hook and then pull it up through. If you want to twist your hook a little bit so you don't hook any of the other bands on the way up, put that back on my hook. So now you'll see the 2 black, and I want this bottom band that's closest to the end of the hook to slide through the top, make that slip knot, and I'm going to pull that pretty tightly. And now I can get these 3 bands to move over to the other side. And again, this is just going to hang there for now, and that's fine. And then I also have 1 band to take off from the top here and push down. Now I'm going to do 3 more layers of white. And I'm taking this bottom layer off after every time I put the top layer on. So it's 1 from the end and 2 from the middle, so it's the 2 orange bands. And here's my second layer. And now a 3rd layer. I'm going to push this down. This time I have the orange on the bottom on the ends. And now I want to put the black band on the center pin, but I'm going to twist it first. So I'm going to grab it. My hook is facing down, so I'm going to do 1 and then a second complete turn, and I'm going to place it back on this pin in the middle. And now I'm going to add the next layer. I'm going to actually do 4 more layers of white right now. So starting at the end here, push that down. This will be my second layer. And this time I'm going to have the black rubber band come over, and then the 2 white, and now 1 from the end. And this will be my 3rd layer. And finally 1 more layer of white. push this down. And so now I'm going to do my next balloon. So I'll take my next color, which I have yellow. I'm going to triple it on this middle pin here. So I'm just placing it on, twisting, putting it back on, but I'm keeping it in my fingers, and I'm going to do it one more time. So you can do whatever method you find easiest to do. Now I'm going to do another layer on top, which is going to be yellow. And now once again, I want one band to come off of the end. In the middle, I'm doing this inverted looping where I'm going down through the 3 center bands and the bottom yellow's coming up through. So again, I'm just ignoring the top 2 yellow, get my hook inside, and I'm going to go through the middle 3 yellow. Again, just make sure you're going through the right ones. I know it's a little bit hard. Since they're the same color, it's a little bit harder to see. Getting those to go behind my hook, and the white can come up and over. And then I need to get my hook inside of these 3 yellow bands once again. Push it out, and here's where I'm going to grab the black, or whatever color your string is. Hook it on and pull it up through. Put the other end back on, and now slide that bottom end up through the top, making the slip knot. And I'm going to pull that pretty snugly. And then finally, I want these 3 yellow bands to come up and over. And you'll see this black just hanging, and that's fine. And finally, I have the 1 white band to come off of the top. And so I'm just going to continue in this same pattern. I'm going to put 3 more layers of white on, and then I'm going to twist this black band around 2 times and put it on the center pin. After that, I will do 4 layers of white, and then it'll be time to add my next balloon. So I will just fast forward here, and when the bracelet gets long enough, I will show you how to take it off of the loom. When you have your bracelet to the length that you'd like it, and you're ready to take it off of the loom, you should have 3 rubber bands on the 2 end pins, and then 2 rubber bands on the middle. So I'm just going to take the bottom rubber band off of the 2 ends. And now I'm going to take these 2 rubber bands that are on the pin closest to me, and I'm going to move them to the pin above. And I'll take the 2 rubber bands from the top pin and move them down. Just make sure they both get on there. And now I am going to grab the 2 rubber bands that are on the bottom. I'm going to go down through the top 4. Get these behind my hook. Now the bottom 2 will come up through, and I can pull this off of the loom. Just make sure these 2 stay on your hook. And I have a clip. I have an S clip here. You can use whatever clip you have available. I'm going to hook that through the one side. And now on the other side, I'll just pick up a couple of bands from the end here. And I'll hook them through the other side. And then here is my bracelet. And so what you'll probably want to do is just take a minute and take the edges and just sort of get them to go out more. It does tend to want to curl just a slight bit inward. And then also, if you look at your balloons or lollipops, and like on this green one here, you can see the white through it a little bit more, and it looks like the green bands are more towards the top. You can just take your hook and pick up the circle bands, and then just pull that slightly up so it looks like the green part is more in the center. So you can just mess around with them until you're satisfied. And if you think at any point that these black bands look like they're a little bit loose, you can always just turn it around, and then from the back just pull the black bands a little bit more towards the back, and that'll make it tighter on the front. Just make it a little bit straighter on the front side. And then here is the other one that I showed you at the beginning with the black. So I think they both have a pretty cool look. I hope that everyone had a good time making their lollipop or balloon bracelets. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!